In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. Good morning. Let's see why it's not working. So we're going to continue our study from last week. Last week we talked about the importance of dogma and faith in our church and how we need to apply what our dogma is to our faith and apply it to our life. So if you're listening carefully today, this morning, the first thing that the first deacon came here and we read the Pauline epistle, you find that in the Pauline epistle, he talked about, it says this in 1 Timothy 6:3, it says, if anyone teaches otherwise and does not consent to wholesome words, even to the words of the gospel, even to the wholesome words, even to the words of our Lord Jesus Christ, and to the doctrine which accords with godliness. And here he's emphasizing the importance of knowing doctrine, and here he was talking about false teachers. And he was kind of comparing the false teachers to almost like when there's a false teaching comes in a church, it's like a disease. And he even used some medical terms actually when you study that epistle. That wrong doctrine is like a disease that can destroy a body, but then also the proper doctrine or the proper dogma can actually save and ultimately lead you to the salvation, to salvation. So let's talk a little bit about how the importance of when I have a doctrine and I believe in, and that's my faith, the importance of applying this doctrine to the way I live and that it becomes part of my fabric. When we say we're Orthodox, what does Orthodox mean? Well, when your teeth are crooked, where do you go? You go to an orthodontist. And why? It's to straighten your teeth. So the word ortho meaning straight. So our Orthodox faith is straight versus heterodox. And if you recall last week, we talked about what is heresy. Heresy is when somebody comes up with an opinion that is against what the Orthodox faith is. So orthodoxy versus heterodoxy. And it's important for us to understand then to really learn and read about the Orthodox faith. As a fast review from last week, where does their faith come from? We said it comes from oral tradition, which came first, and then the Bible. The Bible came in the 2nd century or so. We also learn our dogma and our faith when we pray it in our liturgies, and then we sing and we pray our dogma in our church, in the Orthodox Church, and also the church fathers. And all of the three are in complement each other. There is no contradictions. So the faith that we believe in today is the faith that Christ gave to the disciples preached, and then the first 2 centuries the church father clarified, and we talked about some of the church fathers like St. John Chrysostom and so on. And then the church fathers clarified, and then came the councils, and the Council of Nicaea, Constantinople, and Ephesus. They give us the canons and give us the creed to canonize our faith, and then that faith is the saints live and we live in our church. That faith, to remind you really fast, is not particular to Egypt or to England or America. That faith is the same. It's above location. That faith is not only for like a specific era, like the first centuries. No, that faith is beyond location, beyond time, and beyond individual. So I wanted to give 2 examples. We'll talk 2 examples about how a doctrine, when we apply it in our daily life, it should make us live differently than anyone else. So there's 2 things. We're going to learn something from Saint Shenouda the Archemin Rite, and then we're going to learn something from the part of our dogma when it comes to the Lord and His attributes. We're going to take one attribute, and hopefully that I would like for us to apply it. This is what we're going to read together really fast. It's a short sermon from Saint Shenouda the Archemin Rite. If you come Monday morning of Bascha, you're going to hear this. So this is in Bascha, Monday morning, you read this. So let's read it really fast. Brethren, if you want to escape God's punishment and find mercy in His eyes, let us sit every evening alone by ourselves and search our souls for what we presented to our guardian angel to offer to the Lord. Again, as the night goes by and a new day dawns, the light prevails, let us search ourselves again to know what we presented to our companion angel to offer to the Lord. Let it be beyond doubt that every one of us, male or female, young or old, who is baptized in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit has been assigned to a designated angel until the day of his death. And that angel is to report to him, to God, every day what his assigned individual has done by day and by night. What does this mean? This is Dogma. By the way, this guardian angel belief, if you read the life of Job, the life of Tobias, you'll understand that yes, there is a guardian angel. So now, essentially, the Arshamanite is teaching each one of us this concept in this faith that once I am baptized in the name of the Father and the Son, I am assigned a guardian angel that shadows me all day. That shadows me when no one is around, and when I am with people, when I'm in school, when I'm in the room by myself, and he shadows me. And then at the end of the day, that guardian angel collects everything I did and goes and reports it to our Lord. And then the night passes, and then in the morning, the same thing. The guardian angel, what did we do all night? Did we get up and pray, or maybe did we defile ourselves with looking at something that is not important? And then in the morning, he goes back up and he also reports to the Lord. When I apply this belief and this dogma in my life, how will my behavior change? Knowing that there is a guardian angel with me that is assigned when I was baptized all the way to the time I depart. All of a sudden, I'm going to give you an example. Say you love basketball, for instance, or you love something, and then you look up a YouTube video. And then the YouTube video is shown, and then all of a sudden that YouTube video is gone, but then the following YouTube video maybe is not appropriate for the eyes that look at icons, the eyes that look at the Lord, and the eyes that see, that come to the church and sees all this, would look at this appropriate video. When I apply the idea and the fact and the concept and the belief system that I have a guardian angel sitting right next to me and he's taking account, I will start thinking twice before actually watching this video. Maybe that's not a good one. Also, the guardian angel, when I apply that when I apply that dogma in my belief system in everyday life, it doesn't matter no longer who's around me, but I will act as if my dad is here, as if my wife is here, or my husband. It doesn't matter if they're not here or not, but I look now and look at it with a totally different perspective. I have a guardian angel that is sitting right next to me, and he's taking account, and he's reporting to the Lord at night and in the morning. What do I do? So here is a concept, here is a dogma that it's important for us when we apply it in our life. It's important that, yes, like we can come Monday morning, you hear, oh yeah, that's nice, it's cool, I have a guardian angel. But it's important to take that dogma, that belief, and apply it in our life and live it. And this is an important thing, that we are to act, not just hear of the gospel. So that concept of that belief of a guardian angel allows me that every night I'm judging myself. Look at that first statement, by the way, because the first statement we probably come across it and we go really fast, but it says something that is really important. It says that if you want to escape God's punishment, judge yourself that night. Make sure that you're judging, make sure that you're repenting, make sure that you're confessing. So it says that if you want to escape God's punishment and find mercy in his eyes, sit every evening and take account, what did I do today? What are the things that I fell short? Oh, I should not have answered my parents like that. I should not have looked at this. I should not have said this. I should have not have listened to this type of music. And it's important for us to apply that in our daily life. So this is one part of the dogma that I hope that, when you hear a belief, you apply it in your life. Another one, when it comes to our faith and dogma, God has a lot of attributes. I want to take a look at one of the attributes. One of the attributes of God, He is beneficent. By the way, there is no such word as beneficent. If some people say in the Thanksgiving prayer, let us give thanks to the beneficent. There is no such word. The word is beneficent. And what is beneficent? If you probably have seen a Disney movie called Maleficent, you probably have a better idea of what is Maleficent. Maleficent is very diabolic. It's in that sense, Maleficent is all evil, in other words. It's diabolic. But versus beneficent meaning all good. It's the opposite of maleficent. Beneficent is basically all good. Everything that comes from Him, say, let us give thanks to God, the beneficent. He is all good. Everything is good. And let's talk a little bit about that word beneficent. And sometimes we have a very hard time with that word beneficent. When we say God is all good versus, when we're like maleficent. So what is beneficent? First thing you need to understand is that God is all good. Nothing comes bad. He is the giver of all good gifts. All things that good comes from above. One thing that before we go into a little bit more detail about beneficent is that I would like you to understand that God loves each one of us. He loves you, and St. John Chrysostom says this. He loves each one of us more than your dad and your mom loves you. Can you imagine somebody loving you more than your parents? That's what God does. St. John Chrysostom tells you that God, who is beneficent, He loves you more than Baba and Mama and your Giddu and Teta. Not only that, but that God who is beneficent, He loves you more than you love yourself. This is what He says. He's God, that beneficent God, that all good, He loves you more than you. I mean, can you imagine someone loving me more than I love myself? We tend to always want to make sure that we're comforted, we eat the best, and we really take care of ourselves. But here St. John Chrysostom is saying that beneficent God loves you more than you love yourself. Not only that, but this is huge. When I saw this, is like huge. He says that God loves you and is concerned with your salvation more than His glory. Isn't that huge? So He loves you and He's concerned about your salvation more than His own glory. And you see that in St. John Chrysostom says, well, yeah, look at it. He emptied Himself and He died on the cross and He gave His life for you. So He loves each one of us more than His glory. And this is it's very hard for us to understand that. Like, I'll give you an example. Say if I have a friend, and I'm going to go to this friend and say, I need a favor from you. And probably, which is natural, he says, okay, I'll do whatever you want, but you know what, if it's going to take a lot of my time, or if this is, maybe, or if it's going to take my life, I probably would think twice. And we do that a lot sometimes, but here, it's very hard for someone when you tell them, no, what I'm asking you for a favor, it's going to cost your life. People will think twice more before doing that. But that God who loves me more than my parents, more than myself, more than concerned more about my salvation more than His glory, He is beneficent. So, big question that comes up, if that God is all good, if that God is all beneficent, why didn't I get the job that I applied for yesterday? Or why did He allow a loved one get sick? Or why did He allow a loved one to depart? Or better yet, why did He allow this week 7 Christians going to a monastery to pray at the dead of St. Samuel, the monastery? Why did He allow terrorists come out and just shoot them and kill them? Why? If He's all good? When we struggle a lot with that, why is that beneficent God that is all good allows things like that to happen? So St. John Chrysostom sheds some light on this. And it's a very interesting perspective, and it's part of our belief and part of our dogma, and I encourage that when we face these things, when we're asking, why didn't I pass this exam? I studied hard. Why am I, in this position today? Why? And what St. John Chrysostom says, when we look at our good, what we think is good for us, we only consider our earthly life. We only consider our earthly life. Like, I need this job because it's going to give me a lot of money, and I'm going to be able to support, and I'm going to be able to go and serve, and so on, and do all these good things. But God doesn't look at only our earthly life. We look at only our earthly life. And St. John Chrysostom says that when God blesses or when God allows things to happen, he doesn't take only the earthly life, but he looks at the big picture, the earthly and the eternal. Is this job going to impact? It could be, like for instance, I'll give you an example. A job that will take me away from the Lord or will cause me to compromise my moral value. Well, God, when he looks at it, he says, well, maybe that's not the best. Maybe he cannot handle it, or maybe too much power, or maybe it will take him away or cost him his family because he will be, killing himself at work. And when God allows things in our life, whether it's good or bad, God blesses looking at the entire picture. And this is the doctrine of our church. And this is important for us to understand that and to live it, and to understand that when God allows things such as the martyrdom of people that are going to church, yes, it's sad, and a lot of people, a lot of families are impacted by that. But we trust in a God that is beneficent. So in every funeral of these martyrs, you're going to find that the priest will come in that church, and the first thing that he's going to pray, let us give thanks to who? The beneficent and merciful God. And why? It's because this is our dogma. Whether we see as evil or whether we see it as good, we see that God does things and he blesses and he considers things looking at the entire picture, not just our earthly life. So whenever we're facing something, it's important to identify, well, what am I doing? Am I doing my best, for instance, in doing a job? But then if I do my best and it doesn't happen, I'm going to thank him. And this is the dogma in our church, that no matter what happens in my life, I will stand every day and give thanks to the Lord, that for every condition, in any condition, and in whatever condition, knowing that God loves me more than my parents, more than myself, and he's concerned with me more than he's concerned with his glory, and he's concerned with my salvation more. So when you look at things, when you apply that dogma and that belief system of what is a beneficent God, you will start getting more into that relationship. I thank you, Lord. I may not know why did this happen now, but the day will come when I am in paradise, when I am with you, these things will be revealed to me. But I'm going to trust that you're all good. You're all beneficent. So I pray that we take our dogma and we take that doctrine, just like St. Paul taught us last week, that you need to stand strong in your faith. And then today, St. Paul taught us that it's important to know that doctrine and that you don't allow any false teaching and come and start following false teaching. And one thing, by the way, the Orthodox Church is that the fathers of the church, they say this: the people are the guardian of the faith. The people are the guardian of the faith, in the sense that a priest comes and says something that maybe is not according to the doctrine. The people will say, hey, Abuna, where is this from? And where did you know? So it's important that each one of us know the doctrine and live the doctrine, and already be very sensitive when somebody says, this is not according to our faith. What is that? This is foreign. And people are the guardian of it. So it's important for us to know our doctrine, know our faith, and to read scriptures and live it and apply it in our daily life and hand it to the next generation, and all the glory be to our God forever.